Hello everyone.
I hope you all are doing well today. Happy New Year, or almost New Year's depending on when you're seeing this. This video here today is going to be very different from my usual videos. It's going to be actually a little bit more of a serious video, although we never go full serious on this channel, but it's going to be slightly more serious. A lot of you know me as just a music guy who does the beats and the funny intros on YouTube. Believe it or not, I actually am a real human being and I do have a whole other life outside of that. And for those of you who have been following the channel for a while, you probably know that this year has been absolutely chaos for me. That being said, it's also been one of the most positive years of my life as well. But basically in this video, I want to just give you guys a little recap of how the year went for me. And then I'm going to share with you guys 22 things I learned in 2022. A lot of the things I learned here do relate to what I do, the creative and musical aspect as well. But most of them are actually just really good general life tips that I think anybody could benefit from. So yeah, first let's start off with the yearly recap. So the year actually started off going pretty smoothly in January. I was uploading videos pretty consistently, had a couple good ones, and then at the end of January, the hard drive that I had used for the last 5 or 6 years, literally since I first started making beats, just completely crapped out on me. It was going to be like $3,000 to maybe fix it, maybe not. So obviously I was pretty devastated by that. I had lost all my videos, all my beats that I had made for like the last 6 years, but I didn't really let it bring me down because at the end of the day, it's really what's in here. Although it is super frustrating to lose a bunch of work and a bunch of stuff that you've done, it doesn't negate the fact that you are still you and you still have this creative brain up here that is completely unique to you. So yeah, I was like, whatever, not the biggest deal. We're just starting from scratch. Honestly, I looked at it as kind of the start of a new chapter. Unfortunately, the next couple chapters of this book would be pretty awful because in February, the following month, that was when my cat actually passed away. This is my childhood cat that I've had for basically my entire life. So that was obviously very devastating as well, but like, that's just life. Like, stuff like that is going to happen. And I've never really been the type of person who lets it completely crush me and like ruin my whole world. So then the next month in March, I'm not going to go into too much detail about this, but my mom actually had to take a trip to the hospital because she had some medical stuff. She's fine now for everybody wondering, but it's just kind of one of those nerve-wracking things. When anybody has some sort of medical thing going on, it's always a little worrisome, you know? But lo and behold, it gets worse. In the next month of April, that's when me and my family were actually forced out of our house, and we actually had to stay with my grandma for like several months out of the year, and there was just like a plethora of insane, crazy life stuff and things going on for like a solid 2 months after that. Some of you guys actually might remember this video right here. That video was from when that actually first happened, and I ended up making a beat just on my phone because I didn't have any of my equipment with me or anything. But I'm sure a lot of you guys remember this period of time because that's when I was making videos with like all the plants and stuff in the background. But obviously my upload schedule and the amount of videos that I was putting out was greatly reduced. But in a way, this was nice because I was able to kind of take a step back and take almost a little bit of a break from doing YouTube for a little bit, even though I was still uploading videos. So during that time period, while like trying to figure out what we're gonna do, where we're actually gonna live, had like some bad relationship stuff, which is just always great that you have to add that into the mix. Shortly after that, I started exercising and stuff more consistently. I actually started running a bunch during the summer. I believe within the span of like 1 or 2 months, I ran like over 100 miles. So that was a really cool achievement for me, and I'll actually talk about the, you know, fitness and health stuff a little bit more later. But then in August, I actually had like probably one of the best experiences of my life when me, Logan, and Coleman went on our cabin trip, and we just rented an Airbnb, made some music and stuff, and it was honestly one of the best times of my life. Becoming friends with Cole and just working with him and doing music with him and everything has been probably one of the best things that happened this year, so huge shout out to my boy. But then actually in the next month of September, we started moving into the new house, this one that I'm currently in, which we had pretty much been working on fixing up and renovating for like the entire summer, which was a really cool experience, by the way. I had never had any experience with doing like hard labor kind of stuff before, so it was really cool to do that, you know, lifting heavy stuff and pulling up carpets and chopping trees down, all that kind of stuff. Really paid off, and now I've got an amazing studio space. My family has an awesome place to live, and it's really just super awesome here. And then honestly, I would say October was pretty much the closest thing to a normal month that I'd had this entire year so far. That's when I actually started going to the gym consistently rather than just doing like home workouts with dumbbells and stuff. Then also in October, me and Zol released Every Moment, which is actually the first song that we did together, and it's by far both of our biggest songs now. We also released San Francisco, which is absolutely my favorite song that I've ever worked on. I think he said that it's one of his favorite songs he's ever done as well, so that was absolutely an amazing feeling to put those out. I also did my first ever in-person interview in that month as well, which was pretty cool. And then at the end of the month, I drove up to Michigan to visit Logan for Halloween. We had a great time there, but then while I was driving back, my car broke down when I was halfway in between home and where Logan is, so I was pretty much stranded in this totally crappy Michigan town for an extra night when I didn't really want to be, but you know, that's just just another one of those things that life throws at you. And then November was honestly just a pretty boring month. Nothing too exciting happened. Finally, December, the last month of the year, it's been pretty much just another normal month. This month I've been working on a lot of projects that I've been really passionate about. Speaking of which, me and Zol actually put out some more music. We basically just threw together a little 3-song EP of some Christmas covers, which I personally think all the songs are really good. If you want to check out the story of how we made that, check out this video right here. But yeah, that is pretty much the year in review for me. So you can obviously see that it was quite a stressful year for the most part, but it did turn around near the end. But honestly, I would not have had it any other way, because everything that happens in your life just really molds you into the person that you are. But yeah, so now for the 22 things that I learned in 2022. The first and foremost thing that I learned is that health and fitness is supremely important. This is something that literally everybody knows. It's kind of just common sense, but I've always been the kind of person who's like, I'm gonna do 100 push-ups a day for a month, and then I do it for like a week, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm kind of tired today, I can just do it tomorrow. Literally, the second that you say that to yourself, the second that you give in and you don't hold yourself to that standard is when you've already lost. So this year I have actually taken it seriously, and pretty much for the last like 6 months I have been consistently going to the gym for like 6 days a week. Trust me when I say, when you're in good shape and you're eating right, you will feel so much better, you will have so much more confidence in yourself, because you just look better, so you feel better, and just everything about your body functions more properly and efficiently. The second thing that I really learned and realized that has become one of the like foundations of the way I live my life is that the human brain is the most powerful tool in the known universe. Our brains have created literally everything around us, from the camera and the microphone that I'm recording on, to the walls of this house, to even the language that I'm speaking and you're understanding. The human brain has created all of that. The only thing that we haven't created is real actual nature, which is why I think nature is so beautiful. But if you really think about it, the human brain is absolutely the most powerful tool that we know of, and you have one sitting right up here. You have a supercomputer in your head, and most people are not taking care of it. When you don't treat your brain right and you do things that harm your brain, it's like you're literally sitting there and downloading a bunch of malware onto this supercomputer that you have sitting up here. So yeah, just keep in mind of how much power you're gonna have if you are able to control literally the most powerful tool that we know of. Another thing that I've learned here is that self-accountability and discipline are absolutely the keys to success, and some may even say the key to life. When your boss or your teacher or your parents or whoever tell you to do something, you do it. But when you tell yourself that you're going to do something, you don't do it. Which a lot of this, I believe, comes from a lack of self-respect in a lot of people, because you have to have enough self-respect to say, this is what I'm going to do, and I am actually going to do it. And every single time that you don't do something that you say you're going to do, you're subconsciously telling yourself that you don't need to listen to yourself, which is an absolutely horrible habit to get into, and it just ruins your sense of discipline and sense of self-control. Literally just start out with small stuff. If you just say, I'm going to wake up at 9 o'clock today. It doesn't even have to be some crazy thing like I'm gonna wake up at 5 a.m. Say I'm gonna wake up at 9:30, and then just do that. Just actually do that. Because like I said earlier, the moment that you go, oh, I don't really need to do this, I'm tired, I'll just do it tomorrow, it's a downhill slope from there always. Also, if you're afraid of change, you're always gonna get left behind. This applies in all areas of life, but specifically in the social media kind of world. When you see stuff like TikTok popping up and Instagram kind of transforming into like a Reels based thing now, the people who refuse to accept that change are always going to get left behind, which is unfortunate, because I don't even really think that the whole TikTok short form content thing is a good idea. I think it's actually really bad for society as a whole, but that's just how the world develops. Like, the world is going to change and the world is going to grow the same way that you should be, and if you try to push back against the change, it's never going to go well for you. Another big one here is that everybody knows what they need to do to fix their life. They just don't do it. Everybody knows what they can do to make their life better, but quite frankly, a lot of people are just kind of lazy and just afraid of hard work. Making a change in your life for the better is not an easy thing. It's never going to be easy. A lot of life is not easy. And if you always try to find the easy way out instead of doing the hard work that it takes to get your life to where you want it to be, you're never going to live a quality life. You're never going to live the life that you actually want to live. Another really important thing for specifically creative people, be inspired by everything. Literally everything. Take inspiration from the places that you go, the books that you read, art that you see, the people that you're around. Just always be looking for inspiration in wherever you can find it. Which leads me to a big realization that I had this year, which is that creating with other creative people is one of the best feelings in the world. When you surround yourself with other creative people, and it doesn't even have to be people who have the same interest as you. Like, if you're a rapper, you don't have to surround yourself with only rappers. Surround yourself with clothing designers or artists or photographers or videographers. When you're around creative people, you just feel so much more inspired. When you actually are sitting there working on something with another person who has like a similar vision as you, it is an absolutely unmatched feeling. It's so amazing. Which brings me to a similar topic, which is surround surround yourself with the right people. We've all heard this a million times, but people still don't even really pay attention to it. Surround yourself with people who you aspire to be like. If you don't admire your friends, if they're not providing any value to your life, don't be friends with those people. There's no reason why you need to keep people in your life if they're not providing value to you. You want to surround yourself with people who make you feel good, who uplift you, and who really genuinely make you a better person. So another really huge takeaway that I have from this year is that hard work and adversity are absolutely necessary if you want to grow as a person. Yeah, I know, it sucks when bad stuff happens, but nobody ever made a positive change in their life when they feel all happy and they feel all great and fantastic. You know what I mean? Change always comes from a place of like, oh my God, I need to fix my life. I need to do something different. I don't feel good. I don't like where my life is headed. Those feelings like that are the motivation and the fuel that you need to make yourself a better person. Life is the greatest teacher that you can possibly have, and if you don't go through hard times, you're quite literally never going to be prepared for the real world. A similar thing here is that you can always work harder. Obviously, this doesn't apply to the 1% of people who are going absolutely berserk, working for days on end and then burning themselves out, but in regards to the majority of people, like I know absolutely that I could be working harder. You know you could be working harder. That guy over there knows he could be working harder. Another thing that's really valuable is that you should always strive for excellence in everything you do. It doesn't matter what it is. If you're working a 9-to-5 job, try to be the best that you can possibly be at that job. And even along the music side of things, if you're not so good at piano, practice with the intent of getting really good at piano. Try to get really good at guitar, at drums, with your sound selection, with your mixing, with whatever. Try to just be the best that you possibly can be in everything that you do. You will learn so much from this, and you will also just be a much more respectable person because you'll just be good at a lot of different things. Speaking of which, learning and just the overall pursuit of knowledge is such a fulfilling thing. If you go out of your way to try to learn new things and new skills and new hobbies and stuff like that, you're just going to live so much of a more fulfilling life, because when you're knowledgeable about a lot of different things, that's a very respectable trait. Just overall intelligence and being smart is a very good thing. I feel like a lot of people these days feel like being smart is a bad thing because it's like, you're like a nerd because you're book smart or you get good grades or whatever. Absolutely not. I would recommend going out of your way to learn at least one new thing every single day. It will really genuinely help you in your life a lot, and you'll just become an overall smarter person. However, you should never ever try to be the smartest person in the room. This is a big one because if you are an intelligent person and you go into a room trying to make it seem like you're smarter than everyone and you're better than everybody, you're just going to come off as super arrogant and insecure. It's much better to be humble and have that, knowledge just brewing inside of you than be like trying to show off and boast about how smart you are. And just in general, there is something that you can learn from every single person out there. You should just never be thinking that I'm smarter than this person or I'm above this person or whatever, any stuff like that, because that is definitely not going to help you make friends. And speaking of making friends, this may be a hard truth for some of you, but you cannot fake confidence. You'll see all these videos out there about like how to look more confident, how to make people think you're more confident, blah, blah, stuff like that. The easiest way to do that is to just actually be more confident. And if you want to know how to do that, refer back to the beginning of this list, because one of the best ways to be more confident is to be healthy and exercise so that you feel good in your body, in your own skin. One pretty simple life hack to be more confident is to just not care about anything at all. Eventually, you're going to realize that none of this stuff actually matters. Nobody really cares that much. So go make friends, try just talking with random people, and I promise your confidence will go up when you realize none of this matters. We're all going to die someday, so just go do your thing. Another really important thing that I want to mention is about motivation. Motivation is absolutely a feeling. Just like being happy, just like being sad, just like being anxious, it's a feeling. The same way that being happy can be triggered by spending time with your family, getting a promotion at work, motivation is generally triggered by discipline. If you're disciplined and if you do the things that you need to do, regardless of if you feel motivated or not, that feeling of motivation will come eventually. A lot of people think motivation is just this random magical thing that some people have. Most of the people that you think are super motivated are actually just super disciplined. If you are struggling with motivation though, I will tell you, everything gets better. Trust me, it always gets better. Even if you think you're at the lowest point of your life, there's only up that you can go from there. And like I said earlier, if you absolutely hate your life and you want your life to be better, use that as fuel to make your life better. One quote that I've heard that I like a lot is that we suffer more in our minds than in reality, which is so true. The majority of the suffering that most people go through in their lives is all up here. It's all in your head, a lot of overthinking. And if you go out there and you chase your dreams and you do what you need to do, your life is going to get better in every aspect. Another thing here is that one bad day is not going to ruin your life, but making it a habit absolutely will ruin your life. I am human just like you. There are days when I scroll on my phone for way too long. There are days when I'm not as productive as I want to be. There's days when I don't eat as healthy as I should. There's days when I just wake up and I feel like crap. But you can absolutely and should absolutely just have a bad day, but then bounce back and just get right back on track for where you were before. I'm not going to go too deep into this because this is a whole other topic entirely, but everything around us is designed to keep us addicted to it. And when you're addicted to pretty much much anything, it makes your life miserable. I'm kind of specifically talking about social media here because everything about social media is designed to keep you addicted, because if you think about it, it wouldn't be a very good business model if people weren't addicted to it. And we also all know how the majority of people all the time are like glued to their phones, absolutely addicted, because it's designed that way. Just like all these other tips, I'm not telling you how to live your life, I'm just sharing my knowledge with you, but taking a break from social media or any of the other things that are designed to keep you addicted to them is going to be very beneficial on your mental health. And there's actually an entire scientific component to this as well, with the way that your brain creates dopamine and all that kind of stuff. This next one is a big one, a huge one actually. You should never ever be afraid to be yourself. And that goes with literally any part of yourself, your hobbies and your interests, whether it's your sexuality, your music taste, your religion, your political views, anything like that. Don't let anybody else tell you how to think or influence the way that you are as a person. Have the ability to form your own thoughts and opinions about things, because that sense of individuality is so important. And we really do live in a world where social media influences everything that everybody does. And honestly, the majority of people on social media are fake. You shouldn't believe anything you see on the internet. So yeah, just be yourself, because when you attract people pretending to be somebody else, then you have to kind of live up to this persona and this facade of a person who really isn't you. So just be you from the start, and the people who want to be in your life for you will be in your life, and the people who don't are missing out. To kind of go along with that, if you feel a deep passion for something, chase after it. Please chase after it. If you have that one thing that is just constantly on your mind from the time that you wake up to the time you go to sleep, you dream about it, it's the only thing you can think about all the time. For me, that's always been YouTube and making music. For you, it could be something completely different. It could be, you know, being a photographer, being a basketball player, whatever it is, go after it, please. Because the majority of people at the end of their lives, they regret the things that they didn't do, not the things that they did do. Because if you go after your dreams and you don't succeed, at least you can say that you tried, which is better than most people, and you're also doing something that you enjoy. So there's no situation where you lose when you're chasing after your dreams and chasing after that thing that really makes you passionate. Kind of a random one to throw in here, but meditation is actually super helpful. There's a ton of scientific evidence for this, and you don't even have to do it for that long. Do it for maybe like 3 to 5 minutes a day, and you'll see a lot of improvements in focus and the ability to actually control your brain and control your thinking. And it's also just a good way to kind of calm down and put yourself in the moment. And last but certainly not least, it's gonna sound kind of corny, but love yourself before anybody else. You are the most important person in your life. At the end of the day, the only one that's truly always there with you 24/7 is you. You know yourself better than anybody else. Nobody else is going to take care of you and care for you the same way that you can. So just make sure that you're able to love yourself and everything about you, and just appreciate this life while we're still in it. Because the life that we live is not long at all. It's much shorter than a lot of people realize. So it's absolutely so important that you just appreciate yourself and appreciate the life that you've been given, because it really truly is an impossible probability that you are here and you are you. And I think that's a super meaningful thing. So don't forget that. So yeah, those right there are the 22 things I learned in 2022. Honestly, just learning all these things and valuing all these things this year have made me like 10 times a better person than I would have been before. Because before this, I didn't even really think about 90% of this stuff that I talked about. So yeah, even though a large portion of the year was pretty rough, I don't think I've ever grown as much as a person as I did this year, which I can say that I'm very thankful for. I'm also just so thankful for my family. I'm thankful for all my real, true friends. And also, so importantly, I'm thankful for each and every one of you guys as well, who just watches the videos. When you guys leave nice comments, it makes my day, makes my world. It's absolutely amazing. I never thought that I would have the amount of support that I do. I wish I could name out each and every one of you guys by name, but everybody who leaves comments on the videos, who replies to my Instagram stories and stuff, I see you guys and I appreciate you guys supporting me, and it means the world to me, for real. So yeah, that just about does it for me in this video today. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, even though it was a very different video from what I usually do. Hopefully you still got some value out of it. I'm really looking forward to this next year. I know we're going to do great things. It's going to be big, and I hope you guys will join me along for the ride. So yeah, go check out my Instagram and all the other social media down in the description below, and I will see you guys next time.
San Francisco.